If you enjoy mysterious, real-life stories like this, make sure to subscribe because what you're about to hear might change the way you see reality forever. It began on a cold October night in 1997, somewhere along a quiet stretch of highway in Nevada. The kind of road where headlights feel like the only proof that you still exist. The kind of road where, if something goes wrong, no one hears you. At exactly 2:17 a.m., a man named Daniel Reeves was driving home after visiting a friend in a nearby town. He was a 34-year-old electrical engineer, rational, logical, and not the kind of person who believed in ghosts, conspiracies, or anything that couldn't be explained with science. But that night, something happened, something no one has ever been able to fully explain. Daniel later told authorities that everything seemed normal at first. The road was empty, the radio was playing softly, the sky was clear, with thousands of stars visible above the desert. Then suddenly, his radio cut out. Not faded, not static, just gone. At the same moment, his dashboard lights flickered. The speedometer dropped to 0, even though the car was still moving. The digital clock blinked and reset itself to 2:17 a.m. That's when he noticed something strange ahead. A faint light hovering above the road. Not like headlights, not like a street lamp. It was pulsing, slowly, like it was breathing. Daniel slowed his car, unsure of what he was seeing. The closer he got, the more distorted everything felt. The road ahead looked stretched, almost like heat waves rising from asphalt, but it was freezing cold outside. Then suddenly, his engine died. The car rolled to a stop. The silence that followed was unnatural. No wind, no insects, no sound at all. And then, the light moved. It drifted closer, floating silently toward his car. Daniel described it as a sphere, about the size of a basketball, glowing with a soft bluish-white color. He tried to open the car door. It wouldn't budge. He tried to roll down the window. Nothing. Even his phone, completely dead. The sphere hovered just outside his windshield. And then, it stopped. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Daniel said he felt an overwhelming sense of pressure in his chest, like the air itself had become heavier. Then suddenly, the light flashed, blinding, intense, and everything went black. When Daniel woke, it was morning. The sun was already high in the sky. His car was still parked on the side of the road, but something was wrong, very wrong. His watch read 9:43 a.m. Nearly 7 hours had passed, but to him, it felt only like seconds. He checked his phone. It had powered back on, but the time matched his watch. Confused and shaken, Daniel managed to start the car again. This time, the engine worked perfectly, as if nothing had ever happened. He drove straight home. But the story didn't end there. Over the next few days, Daniel began noticing strange things. At first, it was small. He would hear faint humming sounds, especially at night. Then came the dreams, vivid, detailed, and always the same. He was standing in a dark room, surrounded by figures he couldn't clearly see. They didn't speak, but somehow he could understand them. They were showing him images, not random images, specific ones. Machines, symbols, complex patterns that looked like advanced circuitry, things he had never seen before. Daniel tried to ignore it. He told himself it was stress. But then, something happened that changed everything. One evening, while working on a routine electrical project at his job, Daniel suddenly knew something. He looked at a circuit diagram and realized it was flawed. Not just slightly wrong, but fundamentally incorrect. He redesigned it from scratch in minutes. His colleagues were shocked. The new design was not only correct, it was better than anything they had ever seen. More efficient, more stable, almost ahead of its time. Over the next few weeks, Daniel continued to produce groundbreaking work, designs that seemed impossible, ideas that no one could explain. When asked how he was doing it, he simply said, "I don't know, I just see it." But with these abilities came something darker. The dreams became more intense, the humming grew louder, and Daniel began losing time again. Hours, sometimes entire nights, with no memory of what had happened. One day, he decided to document everything. He installed cameras in his home, set alarms, tracked his sleep. He needed proof. And then, he got it. On the night of November 12, 1997, one of the cameras captured something chilling. At exactly 2:17 a.m., Daniel sat up in bed. His eyes were open, but something about him was off. He moved unnaturally, slow, controlled, almost mechanical. He stood up and walked to his desk, sat down, and began to write. For nearly 3 hours, he wrote non-stop, page after page, without hesitation, without stopping. At 5:03 a.m., he suddenly stopped, looked up, and went back to bed. The next morning, he had no memory of it at all. But the pages were there, dozens of them, filled with complex diagrams, symbols, and notes, some of which were later analyzed by experts, and they couldn't fully understand them. But they all agreed on one thing. Whoever wrote them had knowledge far beyond conventional understanding. As Daniel continued to investigate his own experiences, he discovered something even more disturbing. He wasn't the only one. Reports began to surface, people from different parts of the country, all describing similar events. Strange lights on isolated roads, missing time, vivid, recurring dreams, sudden bursts of unexplained knowledge, and one detail that appeared again and again. 2:17 a.m. No one could explain why. No official investigation ever reached a conclusion. Some believed it was a psychological phenomenon. Others thought it was a government experiment. And a few believed it was something not of this world. Daniel eventually disappeared in 2001. No signs of struggle, no clues. Just like that, gone. But in his home, investigators found one last thing, a notebook, hidden inside a locked drawer. On the final page, written in the same precise handwriting, was a single sentence. "They are not visiting us. We are being prepared." No one knows what it means. No one knows what really happened to Daniel Reeves. But one thing is certain. If you ever find yourself alone on a quiet road and your clock suddenly stops at 2:17 a.m., you might want to keep driving, and whatever you do, don't stop.
If you want part 2 of this story, comment below and let me know.